Goodwill and the Ag Council.
Gospel? Praise? We do that. The Spirit? Yes, we are that. And the Lord? Well, He's all that. This is your home for gospel, inspiration, and information. 1190 WLIB and WBLS HD2, New York.
We're back with more Sharp Talk with Reverend Al Sharpton on 1190 WLIB.
Oh, somebody. Tell them the action is on the air right now. Whether you're at home or sitting in here, get on your feet for the president and founder of the National Action Network, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. No justice. No justice. No justice. No justice. What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? When do we want it? 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 Fist bump the person next to you. Tell them you love them. Certainly we're happy to be here. Another Saturday morning, Saturday Action Rally to give our report on the action of National Action Network and around our community and around the nation. Certainly to you that are listening on 1190 WLIB AM in New York, and you that are watching live stream on National Action Network, as well as we'll be going international in a few moments on Impact Television. We're happy to be with you another Saturday where the action is. Give a hand to our presider, Attorney Michael Hardy. And if he was a little slow getting back to the mic, he had a birthday this week. And we don't age discriminate, but he ain't what he used to be, but he's ours. And certainly we enjoyed that inspirational message from Reverend Philip Craig. Reverend Craig, pastors in Queens, been with Nan a long time as our Queens chapter leader and pastors Greater Springfield Community Church. And I heard him say he hadn't been here in a long time. And the way he preached this morning, it'll be a long time before he comes back. Give him another hand. Let me say that I want to congratulate the props group that put together a memorable and historic occasion yesterday in Harlem, where they painted the mural Black Lives Matter on 125th and Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard to 126th Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard on both the north and south side. And I thought it was beautiful. They had all of us there to speak. Certainly Trez from Sylvia's and others that are part of that group. And the significance of it is when I saw the mayor standing there next to Corey Weiss of the Central Park 5, now the exonerated 5, it showed what Black Lives Matter really means. Is that one of the things I was saying in my speech was that in Harlem, Black lives always matter. The question was getting others to recognize that we matter. Right on that same corner, 125th and 7th, I used to see Adam Clayton Powell speak, and Dr. Ben, and others. So we fought for justice. We always mattered there, right down the block. The Apollo Theater with James Brown used to sing, "Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud." We always matter. And to have Black Lives Matter painted in a mural in many places is great and significant, but none more significant than right here in Harlem. And I think that I think that Trinez and the whole Park group ought to be given a lot of credit for that. And I like the fact they've got on both sides, the north and the south side of the street. So if you're driving up or down, you're going to see Black Lives Matter in Harlem. And I want to say that to segue in, if we really believe Black Lives Matter. Now, let's remember, Black Lives Matter as a slogan started when George Zimmerman was acquitted. A lot of folks don't deal with history. If you don't get the right story, Rodney, you won't get to the right basis of what the story was intended for. I always say if you start with the wrong premise, you're going to get the wrong conclusion. If you say 2 and 2 is 6, and then 6 and 3 is 9, you end up counting wrong because you started wrong. Black Lives Matter started as a phrase, hashtag, when George Zimmerman was acquitted for killing Trayvon Martin. Y'all got me? When that night, the jury came back in Florida and said that they found George Zimmerman guilty of nothing. 3 young, brilliant black women wrote the hashtag Black Lives Matter in reaction to the fact that they felt the verdict said we didn't matter. So when they go through this, the actual phrase came out of the rejection of the value of our lives. The reason why I supported him is we fought to get Trayvon Martin's killer even arrested. You read one of the Black Lives Matter sisters' books, they said if we hadn't gone to Florida, they wouldn't have never arrested George Zimmerman. When I got involved in the case, we could not even get him arrested. We went down there and had a rally with 10,000 people, all that, just to get him arrested. And then they still acquitted him. That's why I keep telling y'all, just because they've charged some police in George Floyd and in Ahmaud Arbery, that is only one phase. We still have to deal with trials and law. Because they can arrest you, hope everybody cool down, wait a year, because these trials take time, and figure they can do what they want to do, which is what they did to Trayvon. But the flip side of that is you can't say that Black Lives Matter and then sit by silently when Brandon Hendricks was killed in New York. Black Lives Matter there too. Black Lives Matter whether others are killing us or whether we're killing ourselves. Otherwise, you don't mean Black Lives Matter. It means you're only against others doing it. We got to do it on both sides of the equation. Our children can't put on a Black Lives Matter t-shirt and then get involved in killing each other. So Black Lives Matter is a great movement that all of us involved in that works on both sides. It matters when police kill us, and it matters when those of us in our community engage in behavior that leads to our death. Let's make it work all the way around. That's why we fight gun violence, because Black Lives Matter. And in that spirit, let me call up Malaysia. Malaysia come up, who is president, Malaysia Freeman, who's the president of our Huddle Youth. And where's Chris Lane? Where's Chris Lane? Chris usually up front showing how they hide you in the back. I got a call from Ashley, my daughter, who helped, was co-founder Huddle, saying that they wanted to do a vigil in the Bronx around the killing of Brandon this week. And I think it was Thursday, they went out, all of the elected officials came out and stood, and I was proud of them because I said that is what the movement's about. They march on Floyd, they march on other things, but they have enough to understand Black Lives Matter with Brandon. And I told them that it was their thing. As much as I was watching it on FaceTime, I did not want to go because I wanted them to be the ones out front. Because I want young people to see young people that will stand up for the Brandons of this world. And I was very proud that our youth wanted to do that. And then actually called me last night and said that out of their, we have Huddle, which is our youth department, has their own little fundraising they do, and people give. I've had ladies gave me a check the other day and said, that ain't for y'all, that's for Man Huddle. And I said, well, I will sure tell them that. But they said that we want to help, Reverend Al. We watch what y'all do when there's victims of police brutality. We want to help, and they've instructed me to help this morning. And Brandon's mother and uncle is here. I think you heard from the uncle. I was listening in the back. And I want them to come forward because I've been authorized by them, and they're going to stand here with us as they are given from the Youth of National Action Network. From the Youth of National Action Network, they want to give you this check of $1,000 for the funeral services. They want to help make sure this family does not have to struggle to bury their son with dignity. And that's from the youth. And I'm going to meet with the mama and uncle, and anything else they need, the old folks in land is going to help give a donation. But I want her to know it is bad enough that she's got to suffer having lost her son. Nobody can replace the heartbreak. Children are supposed to bury their parents. Parents aren't supposed to bury their children, especially in senseless violence. But the least we could do is make sure she don't have to worry about how she's going to put it together to bury him with dignity. And her community ought to rally around her and say, we couldn't help save his life, but we're going to make sure it's not a burden on you. We're with you, led by the first $1,000 with the young people. Thank you so much. God bless. And I like what the uncle said, take the kids to church, take them to school. I was listening, he made a great statement this morning. And I appreciate that so much. And again, I want the mother to know that that's just from the youth. But we also will give what we can to help with the services. I don't know what they will cost. I don't know when they will. But the organization as a whole will also make a contribution. And I hope others will. Now let me say this, because we on the radio. Y'all, one of the things we don't do is raise funds for folk. We give money. I never raise money for a funeral. I write a check. There's somebody on the internet asked how much I get paid to do George Floyd's funeral. How am I going to pay me to do a funeral when we help pay for the funeral? What, I'm going to pay myself? I mean, just ignorant. And I wouldn't even answer it. I mean, we've done funerals for 20 years. I ain't never asked a victim to give me anything. Most of them, we paid the funeral. And the medical examiner with George Floyd. But, so y'all out there that's fundraising, don't hustle off of these folks. Give to them. Don't talk about we need to help. No, just write your check like I did. Because that's what you need to do, and these young people got it right. Give a hand again. Let the family of Brandon Hendricks know that we're with them. Let the family know that we will stay with them. Let the family know they are not alone. Give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. All right. Let's welcome now live all over the world, Impact Television. Let's welcome our Impact family. One of the things that is something that is interesting to me. Today is the 4th of July. And we are following social mandates, so we don't, we stopping people from coming at a certain amount. We may be 2 or 3 people over today. But you have come out even on what is called a holiday. Now, what is interesting to me about the 4th of July, as we prepare to go to Washington August 28th, and George Floyd's family and Ahmaud Arbery's family, all the families are going to lead the rally and the march. And people are asking me, well, Reverend Al, what are we going to do with COVID going up? We're going to make sure everybody has a mask, gloves, come in our rally, get on our bus, because our rally's outdoors, and certainly that is less unsafe. And Northeast is not up with COVID virus. If it go up, we will then let you know how we're going to do that. I'm not having no crazy, but we are going to have the rally. So we're asking people around the country, and I've got people that have never rallied or marched before calling saying they're coming to this rally. When you just look again at what is continuing to come out, this Elijah McClain case in Aurora, Colorado, where this young man, they grabbed him and injected him. And then they mocked what they did, laughed about it. And this did not happen in this last 30, 40 days. And all of these things are coming out because of a movement. What I do not want us to see is a moment that does not turn into a movement that ends in legislation. If we do not end up with new laws, then this moment will have been a fleeting moment and not a movement for real change. That's why I feel afraid we having a march on Washington, because the national government, the Congress and the Senate must make federal law. Let me break it down this way, and I'm going to get into my 4th of July message. A person called me on my radio show yesterday and said when they choked Eric Garner in New York, it was against the law. Why didn't they enforce the law? I said, first of all, a chokehold in New York was not against the law until 3 weeks ago. It was against police policy, but it was not the law. They had a police policy saying that you should not use a chokehold. Until Andrew Cuomo signed the bill 3 weeks ago, it was not illegal in the state of New York for police to use a chokehold. Which meant that when the Staten Island prosecutor went to the grand jury, he was not arguing whether or not to indict on chokehold because there was no law to argue about that. Which might be why they came back with no indictment, because we don't know what law he was arguing. One of the things that we've always argued about is that grand jury proceedings are private and only the DA goes in, which means that if the DA wants to indict or not indict, he can just about, or she can just about get what they want. Because there are no other lawyers, there's no defense, there's nobody. So if I think it was one of the chief judges used to say, Saul Watman, used to be the chief judge of New York, said you can indict a ham sandwich if you want. Because if the prosecutor goes in with the intent of an indictment, they usually can get it. Because there's nobody arguing against them. Or if they don't want an indictment. But if there's a law there, then you have a much different route that the victims or the victim families can take. That is why we're saying we want federal law. What the Congressional Black Caucus has got the House bill that is not passed. It makes chokeholds illegal federally. Why do you keep saying federal, Red Mal? That's why we're going to Washington. Because you cannot go state by state. You'll be forever getting chokehold illegal going through 50 states. And the other parts of that bill, with the immunity is part of the bill. And the residency, all of that's part of the bill. We need federal law, and where do we get that from? Is that qualified immunity was the word I'm looking for. Qualified immunity where they are not liable.